Hello, my name is Samantha, and I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about my story and how I got into hypnosis. So for anyone that has booked a session or thinking about booking a session, hello. This is a wild ride, so here we go. In February of 2022, so last year, I was diagnosed with stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma, which is breast cancer, and that is the most common type. Later, my cancer type was actually changed to mucinous carcinoma, which is a very rare type of breast cancer. So just to rewind quickly, I actually found my lump in December, the last week of December. And the crazy thing is 2 weeks before I found my lump, I was about to get in the shower and I just heard something in my head say, check your breast for breast cancer. And I had never experienced anything like that. I didn't know where it came from, but I listened and I was very uneasy about that. So I remember just every time I was in the shower, just frantically, checking, doing self-breast exams, and nothing. And I would just have a huge sigh of relief, like, whew, thank goodness, So one morning I woke up and I went to bed and there was nothing there. I woke up the next morning and I had a massive lump, like the size of a large egg, just right here. And I showed my husband. I'm like, what the heck is this? He's like, I don't know. It was very, very big. And because of that, I was just like, no way can it be cancer. Because in my mind, cancer started out as a pea-sized lump and it got bigger and bigger over time. And then that's how you would know it was a tumor, or at least that's what I thought. And at that time, I didn't connect the dots of what I had heard about breast cancer or checking my breasts. Like, I just didn't even go there. I didn't even think about it. So I looked online, of course, and everything that I saw said give it 2 weeks to go down. I had some trauma there. I hit myself on a countertop when I was walking, and I just figured that it was scar tissue damage, trauma, something like that. The worst thing I thought was, great, I'm gonna have to have surgery and get this scar tissue out. Yeah. So I gave it 2 weeks and it did not go down. And I booked a doctor's appointment, but it took weeks to get into my doctor. And we actually had a family trip planned to Disneyland. So I remember on that trip, it was starting to hurt because prior to that, it was not painful at all. But I noticed when people were hugging me, or I just noticed it starting to hurt. If I laid on my stomach, it was painful. I know now that's because the cancer was growing into my muscle in that area, and that's why it was becoming more and more painful. So finally get my diagnosis. As soon as I got into the doctor, she was very concerned, sent me right away for an MRI, ultrasound, biopsy, and things moved very quickly after that. So February, I got my official diagnosis and I was starting chemo within 2 weeks. And I did one of the most aggressive types of chemotherapy, and I lost all of my hair. So this time last year, I did not have a single hair on my head. I was completely bald. I had no eyebrows, no eyelashes. Now I have a nice little ponytail, if you could see. I'm very proud of that. So yeah, it was a very tough time. I was about 30 pounds heavier from all of the steroids and everything that I was on. And I did chemotherapy for about 5 months. It was very, very hard on my body. So after that, it was time for surgery. So I opted for a double mastectomy with tissue expanders so that I can do reconstruction. After I healed from that, that was also a very painful surgery. After I healed from that, I began radiation, and I needed 33 rounds. So that is 7 weeks, 5 days a week. And I ended up getting 3rd-degree burns on my neck, my breast, my underarm. It was peeling. It was also very, very painful. But I was happy because that was the end. I was done, right? I'm cancer free. And we ended up doing a PET scan at the end of treatment, and they saw a spot on my shoulder, on my bones. And it was so tiny that they were not positive that it was cancer. But I mean, really, what else could it be? I had other scans in the past and that never showed up. So we ended up doing 2 bone biopsies, but because the spot was so small, they could not get a definitive answer. They thought it was cancer, but they weren't sure. So my doctor and I talked about it, and I'm always one to be proactive. So we decided to radiate that spot to get rid of the cancer. Now, bone radiation is very, very painful. And my shoulder still kind of clicks when I move it. And had I known how painful it would have been, I probably would not have done that. But I did it. Again, with the overall goal of being cancer-free, getting my life back. So once that was done, we did another PET scan. And that PET scan actually showed 6 more spots all over my bones. On my ribs, my neck, my spine, my pelvis, which was by far the most painful. So at that point we knew it is cancer. It has spread, and I am now stage 4. Prior to that, the goal was to cure me so that I can continue my life and not have to deal with cancer anymore. Now that I am stage 4 and it's in my bloodstream, the goal is no longer to cure me. It is to extend my time as long as we can. Imagine a 32-year-old with 2 small children, a husband, a family, everything, being told that. When someone puts a clock on your head, it's very devastating. As humans, we don't know when we're supposed to die because we're not supposed to. It just does something to your psyche. So I had done a really good job of keeping a good attitude and being positive and all of those things, sharing my story. I had TikTok and I shared with thousands of people my entire journey, shaving my head, finding out I was diagnosed, just everything. And I tried my best to give them like a blueprint of what to expect, what can happen. And so this was devastating. After all that, I did all the chemos, all the surgeries, all the radiations, all the pills, everything that they wanted me to do. And I still had cancer, worse than before. So I just really, for the first time, let my mind go there. And I was just like, I could die from this. This thing is coming for me with a vengeance. And it was a very, very hard time for me. Very, very dark place. It was just very tough. So I was like that for about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, just very, very down. I just didn't know what to do. I did everything. So I'm washing the dishes, and I decided to put something on YouTube just so I can watch while I wash the dishes. And I came across this channel called The Other Side NDE, Near Death Experiences. And there was just this video that I was drawn to. And I'll tell you, about 10 years before all of this happened, I had decided that I believed in science. I did not believe in God. I did not believe in angels. I just didn't. I grew up believing in those things, but about 10 years ago, I was just like, I had so many questions and like no one could really answer them. And it was all like, just take our word for it, just believe it. And it was hard for me because I know that if you play the game of telephone, stories change over time. Things can be manipulated or altered, or I just didn't know. And I had a hard time like putting all of my faith into that. So throughout my whole cancer time, I didn't call on my angels. I didn't call on God. I didn't call on anybody to help me. I got it. So being drawn to a video like this was not something that I would normally do. It was not in my character, but it just felt like a magnet. What do I have to lose? So I watch it, and this man is just telling his story of how he lost his entire family in a car accident. He was driving, his baby died, his wife died. Originally, he died, and the only person that had survived was his son, his 7-year-old son. And he just talks about getting to the other side, and his wife is there and telling him, you don't belong here, you need to go back and take care of our son. And it's just a whole beautiful story. But he just talks about how peaceful it was, and how loving it was, and how wonderful it was, and how he did not want to come back. And I was just hanging on his every word. Something about the way that he told the story just resonated with me, and I just felt in my body that he was telling the truth. And also, well, if I do die, it doesn't sound so horrible. Maybe I'll be okay. So maybe that glimmer of hope is what I was holding on to, that I don't just go into the dirt and that's the end of it. So I remember just when that video was over, I was just different. I was not the same person I was before I started it. So I binge watched every single video on that channel. They have like 87 videos right now, and I went through every single one. And it was just incredible because they were all different types of people from all around the world, different ages, races. We had atheists, scientists, people that had near-death experiences came back, and they were saying the exact same thing. Their stories were a little bit different, but the general idea was exactly the same. So that's when I was really like, this may have some merit. These people have never talked to each other before. How could they all conspire together and come up with so similar stories? So that really just opened the floodgates. So then from there, and now I believe that, this wasn't just by chance. My guides, my angels, were giving me things in bite-sized pieces that I would accept and that I could handle and process. So once I finished those videos, Dolores Cannon's videos started popping up. And if you don't know who Dolores Cannon is, I highly recommend you check out her videos because she is wonderful. She was a very seasoned hypnotherapist, and her specialty was past life regression and quantum healing. So she worked with thousands and thousands of people, and by going back with them in their lives, she got information on, Jesus. She got to speak to Nostradamus. She got just so much insight on the world that we're living in today and what's happened before. Atlantis, just tons of things. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Hypnosis is pretty cool. So once I got done watching all of her videos, another YouTube channel came up called Quantum Healing Within. That practitioner's name is Heather, and she is just incredible. She has changed my life in so many ways, and I owe so much to her because she's just fantastic. And that was the first time I actually got to listen to what a hypnosis session sounds like, what actually is involved. And I didn't know what I was listening to, but I was very interested. And the first thing that they start with is entity release. And I didn't, entities can be earthbound spirits, so people that have died and have not crossed over properly, either because they didn't know how, they didn't go to the light, they were afraid to because, they thought, like religion could tell you, I wasn't perfect, so I may go to hell, and they didn't want to go to the light. Or if people have addictions, that holds them here, and they try to find other people that have similar addictions so they can get that need met. Or if they are, they don't want to leave their family, they don't want to leave their home, different reasons. But basically, when the earthbound spirits stay behind, they start to notice that they become a lot weaker. They need energy. So they attach to humans that are still alive, and they siphon their energy from them. So that's basically what I was listening to, and you just hear just all of this crazy stuff. Earthbound spirits come up, they tell their stories, what happened to them when they first got attached to this person, what issues they caused in their life. Incredible, just mind-blowing. So I remember listening and I was like, wow, I need to do this. So I booked a session with Heather, and I'll tell you, the day before my session, I was in so much pain. My cancer was getting worse, and it was so bad in my pelvis that I couldn't even sit down. I remember the day before my session, I was driving home and I was hurrying. I was rushing to get home because I had to alternate butt cheeks that I was sitting on because it was so painful. So when I got in my session, I had told Heather all about my cancer journey and just everything that I was going through. And I ended up going on a Pleiadian starship, healing starship, during my session. And I laid on a bed of crystals, and I physically felt my entire body get so hot. And I had to take off the blankets, and I'm just like, I'm sweating. I'm so hot. I felt my body get extremely cold. I felt my whole body vibrate, just pulsing. It was just vibrating. Incredible. And I had miraculous healing. And I'm not making any claims or saying that this is going to happen for everybody, but this was what happened with me. And I got done and I immediately jumped up, and my pelvis didn't hurt anymore. And I was stretching and I was moving and I was doing all these weird movements with my body because I wanted to prove myself wrong. I wanted to tell myself it wasn't true. Like, look, it hurts still. And it didn't. My bones felt strong. It was just incredible, miraculous healing. And when I was done, I asked her, like, how can I learn this? I have so many cancer friends or people with ailments that I can help. And so that's how I got here. She got me connected with the person that she learned from, the school she went through, and I did the same. So I started Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, and that was a modality that is created by Laura Whitworth, who is incredible, another one. And she is so passionate about this modality and this subject that it's just incredible. I think that pretty much all of us believe that this will be the future of healing. And she's been amazing. So she's always available for me, any questions I have, because I have a lot of questions. And I am a perfectionist, and I want to make sure that my clients are in the best hands possible. So I devoured that course. I learned everything that I could learn, and asked tons of questions, still do, and she is very much there for me and so super helpful. So both of those ladies have impacted my life in incredible ways. So right now, my focus is entity release, which is going back to like the earthbound spirits that I talked about. There's also artificial intelligence, there's implants, there's demons that cause issues in our life. They attach to us, they take our energy centers, chakras are no longer working the way that they should, because they're impacted by entities that should not be there. Your energy should be for you. So did I say past life regression? I do past life regression too, because you have lived past lives. I know some of us, that's a hard concept to wrap our mind around. I was the same way. I did not believe in any of that stuff at all, but you have. You're pretty freaking cool. Let me tell you first, you lived incredible lives to get to this point. So that's one of my favorite parts through all of this, is the past life regression, because I love to see where we go and things that you've done. It's pretty cool. So I have not learned the quantum healing part as of yet, but that is my next step. In the next few weeks, I will be taking that course, and I'm so excited because I can't wait to give people the type of healing that I received. I will have you know that I have not taken a cancer medication in 5 months, and I am doing incredible. I'm doing better than I was before. My body was breaking down slowly. Like, you should have seen all of my lab numbers. They were in the red. I was not doing good. And again, I'm not suggesting that anyone does this or anyone takes my word for it or believes what I'm saying, because I know how it sounds and I know how I was before. I was the ultimate non-believer. Like, my family is just like, what a complete 360 you have done, because you are not the same person you were months ago. So all I'm asking is, if you're suffering, look into other options. There's more than one way to get things done. And I just could not accept that my future was in other people's hands. And I did get the impression that it just kind of is what it is. You know, like, they were just going to let it run its course. And I just couldn't let that happen. So things came into my life and into my path for a reason. I am meant to share my story and share the word that you can heal yourself. Your body is miraculous and it can heal itself. There's a book called The Metaphysical Anatomy, and it breaks down just tons of different diseases, illnesses, and it talks about the energetic and spiritual connection to that. So basically, it's stagnant energy. Have you been angry, stressed, resentful? I had lots of resentment I was holding in. My boundaries weren't being respected, and I was just holding all of that in me. And it's about releasing and moving that stagnant energy. So that is a little snippet. I can't go into every single thing, but that is just a very high level of why I am here today. So my goal is to help my clients, and I want to leave you better than I found you, and just open your eyes to this incredible world and life that we live in, because we are not small, little insignificant humans that just live here and then die and then that's it. No. You are so much more than that. So I want to help you have the best life possible you can while you're here on this earth, in this realm, and also open your mind to the spiritual side of things. Hypnosis is not anything magic, voodoo, anything like that. We work with the archangels. I work very closely with Archangel Michael, the family of light, my angel team. We very much so believe in God, source. So that's what it is. I mean, basically, during hypnosis, we relax your mind and bring you to the theta brainwave state, which is something you do every single day. When you fall asleep, you go into that theta brainwave state before you go into delta and you're sleeping. Another example would be when you wake up in the morning and you're still kind of just opening your eyes, a little groggy. You're in the theta brainwave state at that point. And you bring yourself out of it when you open your eyes. So that's all we're doing with hypnosis, is just taking you, relaxing you enough and getting you to that state. We're moving the conscious mind out of the way, which is, conscious mind is kind of obnoxious because that's the thing that's always talking to us and chatter and just all of the things running through our heads all the time. And this gets that out of the way and lets you calm down, relax, and get to a place of peace. So we can let your subconscious mind speak, because your subconscious mind has all of the answers. And it's a beautiful thing. So just a snippet, congratulations on taking this first step, or at least listening to this. And you can always, of course, do your own research. Don't ever listen to what anybody tells you. Look it up for yourself. And you might just be wowed at how incredible we all are. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, message me, let me know. I am happy to discuss anything. And I can't wait to meet you. If you have already booked a session, I'm very excited. I love all of my clients so much. So yeah, I hope that answered some questions for you. Sending love and light to you all.